What's up, everybody? How's it going? When we left off, I was in Novak, and I had just gotten my hotel room, permanent housing and stuff, and made some weapon repair kits, fixed up a bunch of those energy weapons we got from RepCon, and went and did a little trading with Old Lady Gibson, and then came over here to Nelson and kicked the Legion's ass and took back Nelson. You see these NCR soldiers here. Those are the ones I freed from being crucified by the cowards in skirts. And even went down there, and their self-proclaimed leader, which is with his wannabe cosplay name, Dead Sea, lifted his skirt and spanked him and all of his girlfriends. Took back Nelson, gained a bunch of fame with the NCR. All right, bad news is that whole video clip sabotaged itself. I do not know what happened. It was in the middle of some other clips. Didn't have any problems with the other ones, as you can see here. But that one deleted itself, and I'm only assuming that the Legion sabotaged it because they didn't want to show their ass getting handed to them literally again. Good news is I do have another video of that exact same thing, where I took back Nelson with a varmint rifle and just disrespected the crap out of Legion and showed that if they do not outnumber you 5-1, they run. They run like cowards. And it's hard not to shoot them in the back because they're never facing you. Nothing to respect about the Legion in any way, shape, or form, or anything they represent on several different levels, both in video games and real life. Yeah. Anyway, enough said about that. I do have another video on that, so not really losing anything. But anyway, that's what's taken place so far. Repaired a few weapons, traded a little bit with Old Lady Gibson, took back Nelson, and I guess the best thing is that I earned a bunch of brownie points with Boone, and that unlocks his personal quest later on. Each of the companions has a little personal side quest, or whatever you want to call it, that you can do for them that will give them one of two different buffs depending on what decision you make. You can basically have them be aggressive or passive. And now that's not just a rule of thumb necessarily for all of them, but that seems to be the general idea is one will give them maybe more DPS or accuracy or whatever, and the other one will give them more damage resistance or toughness or hit points or something like that. So that seems to be the rule of thumb there, more or less. And with Boone's, it'll be something involving Bitter Springs, kind of a return back there and let him set things right and find some closure. And anyway, you need to gain their trust, gain some companionship with them. And like with Veronica, it's to find her a fancy dress, similar to what the lady at the Lux is wearing or something. There's only maybe 1 or 2, 3 copies of that dress to be found in the game that she'll wear and accept as that. But once you do, it unlocks something with her. And with Boone, once you've gained some trust and gone through dialogue with him and stuff, it unlocks the option to go back to Bitter Springs and do his little thing. And whatever the case may be, this really earns a lot of brownie points with him when you save the NCR troopers there in Nelson. He even goes so far as to make a comment, "I'm glad you saw there was another option. Mercy killing, isn't always the only thing you can do there. Sometimes you have to go down and kill all the cowards and, free your buddies." And which is what we did. And he really seemed to like that. So his companion quest, or whatever you want to call it, his own little personal side story thing, should come sooner than later. And we gained even more rep with the NCR. Matter of fact, there was a speech check we were given once we got there because our NCR rep was already high enough. And, just a note on NCR rep, even if you want to, it almost makes me want to taste my breakfast again in my mouth to say this, but even if you want to side with the Legion in the game, there is something to be said for it in the role-playing aspect of befriending the NCR or pretending to befriend them so that you can get in behind enemy lines. I mean, in real war, that's how it'd be done anyway. What would you say? A double agent type of deal. And you could always go that route, but still, just factor in that befriending the NCR, they are dominant here in New Vegas. You're going to see them everywhere. All right, and having speech check options and quest options available to you for being their friend is far more advantageous than just starting out the game killing every NCR you see. I mean, sure enough, that'll net XP and stuff because of all the NCR soldiers you're going to have to kill throughout the rest of the game. But that's going to close off a lot of stuff to you from between Camp McCarran, other places. Now, there'll be a point where both Caesar and the NCR will send a diplomat to you to, at some point, forgive you of all your sins, quote unquote, so that you can continue on with the main story once you're in Vegas. And I believe that it's kind of like an envoy. It'll be sent to you after you talk to Yes Man. Whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to side with Legion, yourself, the NCR, Mr. House, whatever you decide to do. There's a skill book there on the table. Sweet. Nice book on repair. But whatever you decide to do, you'll be given that option so you can kind of clean the slate. So you can go out and do all the questing after New Vegas. And I probably won't include that in this Let's Play because that to me becomes busy work. Once I get to Vegas, that's kind of the end of the game to me. That, you know, I've had my fun. I've had my exploring and my character building. And, you know, I mean, you can do all this stuff in New Vegas before you even get to Vegas. You can go mess with the boomers. You can go mess with the cons. You can go mess with the Brotherhood of Steel. You can go do all that before you ever even step foot in Vegas itself. And go talk to Mr. House and all that. There's a lot of XP to be had once you get in Vegas. Dealing with Mr. House, going and talking to the families in the hotels, getting a bunch of gambling done so you can get a whole bunch of caps, get kicked out of all the casinos and stuff like that. I mean, that's all cool. But the meat of the story lies outside of Vegas. You know, out here doing what I'm doing now, exploring and finding new places and leveling and picking those early perks to make my character better. And so that's fun to me. Once I get there and I have to make a decision and then I have to go meet each of the families and go do a bunch of legwork for each one of them, it becomes chores, kind of. That's the way it feels to me, in my opinion. It becomes, what's the word for it? Kind of like a hub game, where Vegas is your hub and you have to branch out here, 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 and here to go do things, set objectives, right? To come back and eventually get to the point where you can go battle for Hoover Dam and the game's over anyway. And so, like I say, getting to Vegas is where the meat of the game is with me. And that's what this Let's Play is built around, is essentially showing the character build. And by the time we get to Vegas, I'll be leveled enough for you to see the mandatory perks in action and see how effective the character is even against, you know, higher level enemies. I'm sure we have to start seeing Legion assassin squads here pretty soon. At some point. We've got Infamy with them, so I mean, I don't see why the Legion wouldn't send them unless the game glitches. I'm surprised I haven't been attacked by one or two already. Honestly, this is a good spot for them, right here. And then there's a gas station further up the road across from the dry lake where they will spawn there too. You learn there's certain spawn points in the map where the Legion will essentially always show up. And now if you've just killed an assassin squad, odds are if you go run to another spawn point, they won't be there yet. But wait a day or two, maybe 3, and they will. And you could essentially just stand there and wait. You know, just press the back button and wait for a couple days, and one should spawn for you. Lots of spawn spots for those guys. Here we have Helios 1.
State your business. Your being here is a start, soldier. We aren't exactly overflowing with troopers here. But if you really want to help us, talk to the idiot with sunglasses in the back of the plant. He's been trying to get this place running for months and hasn't made any forward progress. There should, but we're not getting much power out of it, so none of our enemies have big interest in it either. Not like Hoover Dam, anyway. We had a real fighting force here just long enough to take it from the Brotherhood of Steel. Then they got sent east to the dam like everybody else. Caesar's Legion sends skirmishers every so often, prodding for weaknesses mostly. The reality is, if they really wanted it, we'd all be dead. Damned if I know. Put up a hell of a fight, though. We had them outnumbered, I don't know, 20 to 1 maybe? They held out as long as they could, lost most of their force before they retreated. Gave us a little parting gift, too. They had some of the plant running, but they shut it all down. Enabled an old security system, too, to keep us away from the controls. Jerk-offs. I ask myself the same question all the time. But energy is hard to come by around here. Gives you more control over this area than troops ever could. Hell, if we lose the dam to the Legion, this little plant may be our last stand. Later.
That's awesome. The actual quest objective is to go talk to the idiot in sunglasses at the back of the plant. Doing this nets a big book of science if you go the follower route. which I will. There's it's actually the quote unquote good or best decision you can make. At the end of the game, it'll do somewhat of a summary. It did the same thing in Fallout 3, where it essentially shows the results of all your decisions and your actions, at least to some extent. Some of your major decisions, like, you know, who you chose to be sheriff in Prim, where you chose the power to go in Helios 1, who you sided with, different things like that. And some net surprising results, like some actually keep a town safe, like having Prim Slim as sheriff in Prim actually keeps the town safe from essentially everybody, although crime rate rose a little in that Prim was pretty slow and he couldn't chase the more nimble thieves when they would steal something type of thing. When it came to major stuff, apparently Prim kept it pretty safe. Do we have an assassin squad? No, we have one Viper gunslinger over there. Oh well. No loot for us. Actually, this dude, it looked like he shot me with a grenade rifle. I wouldn't mind having one to repair the one I have. And how about just exploding in the middle of the street, huh? Take that. Look at that reload speed. Gotta love it. He did have a grenade rifle. And he's also got some armor for Boone. Go ahead and give Boone that.
Fine by me.
There you go, buddy. The t-shirt, it's not going to stop too many bullets, man. That armor right there probably won't stop too many more, but better than the t-shirt. Okay, now there's a couple locations to discover down here. Right? This is the dry lake, I believe it's called. It looks like we have a bloatfly. Uh-oh. Oh, better be careful. We got a bloatfly down here. You have the dry lake itself, then you have Vault 11, just over there on the other side of it. And then right next to it, to my right, is the gas station. And I don't think there's a skill book in that gas station, but there's some notable loot to be had. So, definitely worth checking out. I know there's trophy and achievements for a certain number of locations you've discovered. So you've got that, and you've got the XP just from discovering them in the first place. And apparently there's somewhat of they're like side challenges for locating the different vaults in the land too. If you'll notice, like when you discover a vault, it'll say 1 for 1. Challenge completed for discovering a vault location. And don't know how much XP they necessarily net. But it's probably XP above and beyond just a standard location. You know, instead of 5, maybe it's 30 or 25 or 50. I don't know. Who knows? But whatever it is, I'll take it. Okay, now I think there's a spot somewhere in this dry lake also where you have somewhere of an ant nest. So if you're doing the thing for the Thorn, that underground fighting arena type thing, that lady's going to have you go out and collect more and more dangerous different kinds of eggs for animals so that she can have animals to fight each other. I think she may send you here. I don't remember. Seems like there may be something like that. That's too close to dogfighting to me, so I avoid it. It's distasteful, in my opinion. Call that what you will. That's just how I feel about it. So I don't really mess around with the Thorn. It's not mandatory. There's no achievements, trophies involved with it, or any of that other stuff, so I just leave it alone. Well, I guess better than flame each other than me, right? Notice I'll use an energy weapon until I run out of ammo with that thing, and then go back to the guns I'm really using. It'll add up over time. I'll eventually hit that 10,000 damage with energy weapons mark where I get to, meet that challenge. And there's actually quite a few XP to be had from meeting those kinds of big challenges. Doing 10,000 damage with all the different kinds of weapons, big guns, explosives, small guns, energy weapons, melee, unarmed, blah, blah, blah. And then you have healing yourself so much damage with stim packs, then so much damage with food. And food involves everything from purified water and Nuka-Cola to the obvious, food items themselves. And I believe the Vault 11 is just right over here. If you're a melee or unarmed type character, that's Ant Nectar is good stuff. It's almost like buff out. Should be it right there. Yep. There we go. See, notice it said 1 for 1. So I guess each vault has its own little challenge or whatever. I don't know exactly how much XP I got for that, but whatever. I think there's even a challenge for completing challenges. And so I'm sure that counts towards that too. So there's literally a challenge for just about everything in the game. It's kind of like almost like the badass ranking in Borderlands 2. Where basically everything you can kill something with and everything you can do and all the locations you find and just about anything that can happen, that does happen, gives you progress towards all these different challenges. And then once you meet certain challenges, you get buffs. Perks or buffs, constant things like an extra 1% critical chance or extra 1 point of damage with a particular kind of weapon or whatever, But, anything that benefits you in the long run, and that anything that is a passive buff, meaning it's not something I have to go in and press a button to activate, but it's just always in effect for my character, I'm good with that. I'll take those all day long because they're free, and they work all the time, and they're a no-brainer. There's something I don't have to think about. The tougher ones are the games where you get a passive buff, but it's at the expense of something else, like, say, plus 10 damage, but maybe minus 2 damage resistance or something. And that's where you go, And so, you have to put a little more thought into your build. Is what am I willing to sacrifice to gain this over here? And can I stack this with something else to make the penalty smaller or negligible and the bonus even better type of thing? And most of the better level or character designs, as far as the leveling goes, will have options like that. There's some games like Dragon Age is really good about that. And even Mass Effect. Have some stuff like that in there where you get a bonus, but it's at the cost of something else. But that cost doesn't necessarily cost you anything if you've built your other skills right to complement that one skill. And so it takes some thought. It's a lot of fun to me. I love figuring stuff like that out and trying a build and seeing if it works. I can spend hours, even days in a game testing a build to find out I don't like it and then just trash it. If you ever see me trash a level 15 or 20 character just to start over from scratch, I do it all the time because I decide, I don't like this. It's not working, and just garbage. Except the games where you can respec. Those are really nice. And you can respec all your points. So then you can try something to see if it works, and if it doesn't, well, then you don't have to go completely from scratch. But that's not the case here. Once you pick something, it's yours. Unless they had a respec option in one of the DLCs or something. I guess maybe they may have added something here, New Vegas, for like that. I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of. Anyway, all right, that's it for here. We're at the gas station here, and from here we'll head to maybe Camp Forlorn Hope or the 188 or both, and eventually get to Boulder. All right, thanks for watching, guys. And for the rest of the Let's Play, if you want to catch up on it, hit that top box. And then for a complete list of all my video playlists, click the bottom box. And if you want to subscribe and support the Ninja Flips, hit that button right there over my head. Remember to share and like and comment and stuff. All right, catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.